Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. It is Saturday evening, 6 o'clock. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody is having a wonderful evening. I didn't do anything today. All I did was take the sun, went swimming, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Now my wife is hard at work. BBQ, baby, BBQ. I'm the only man who doesn't do the BBQ, by the way. Anyway, if you are a fan of the program, you kind of tolerate me on a daily basis. All I ask folks is click a like, support the channel, and I will continue to do my best. Again, as you guys have been noticing the last 2-3 weeks or so, I've been taking 2-3 days off during the week. I haven't been recording the video, just enjoying my life. The last lap of summer, I will reclaim back the video slots throughout the week, start after Labor Day and all that good stuff. So if you are enjoying your summer, if you are enjoying your life, click a like, support the cause, and let's be happy together, right? That's the most important part. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. Guess what? Market continues to melt higher. Have a great weekend, everybody. Anyway, so people are complaining when the market was imploding in February and March into the April bottom. People complaining now that the market doesn't go down. When are you going to be happy, right? When are you going to be happy? The market's the market. The market's going to do what the market wants to do. It's your job to conform to the market, to what it's doing. The market's job is not to conform to you, okay? I promise you. Irrationality, solvency, all these things are your issues, right? They're not the market. The market wakes up every single day. ECN's kicking in at 4 o'clock in the morning. A lot of these different brokers have 24-hour trading or 23-hour trading, whatever the hell it is called. So you have all these aspects. But remember, the market doesn't care about you, right? The only thing the market does is put a platform together that buyers and sellers determine the face value of a stock. And a stock is only as expensive or only as cheap as its face value as its 4 o'clock close. So the idea that the market needs to do everything, you want it to do everything, it needs to make you whole, it needs to make you rich, it needs to make you wealthy, doesn't need to do anything. And that's kind of where we are. We're in a melt-up market. If you've been taking advantage of this melt-up market, congratulations. You've been in a really, really strong bull market. That's exactly what it is. The same way I call it a bear market where we're below the 50-day moving average and every other day we're just getting massacred. Well, this is a bull market. This is bull market activity. We are pretty much 85%, if not 90% through earnings season right now. The only big one is left is NVIDIA. I believe that is in a couple of weeks. That's going to kind of put a stamp and a ribbon on earnings season. But the moral of the story is, despite a lot of names not performing well, at least on the surface, on the numbers, the market has continued to grind higher. And this week was absolutely no difference. The only difference is, well, we're getting more headlines. You got a slew of economic data. You had some jobless, you had some PPI, whatever the crap is, CPI, blah, 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 blah. We're all-time highs, right? Same thing over and over and over again. Now at least I'm reading this, traders are pricing in an 80% shot of who cares? I mean, honestly, who cares, bro? It's the same nonsense all the time. It's talking heads. Traders are doing this, traders doing that. They're predicting this. Just trade what's in front of you, man. Trade what's in front of you. Let the market dictate. So far now, every single time we have an opportunity to come back to get aggressive to the downside, to kind of formulate gravity. The market bulls just came back on, even on Friday, right? Even on Friday, I give you an example. I give you a perfect example exactly what this market is, right? So I shorted NVIDIA, right? Shorted NVIDIA on Friday, and came in about $1. You know what my response was? There's no way in hell I'm not taking money off this move. You know why? Because stocks bounce right back. And that's exactly what happens with every single stock on weakness. There's no fear, right? There's literally no fear in the tape. Buyers are there. Open wide, open sesame. We're coming through the door. We're going to buy every single dip. And that's exactly what's happening in this market. Are there stocks that are not participating Absolutely. There's a whole slew of them. Matter of fact, there's a whole group that has not been participating for quite a while, but got a little bit of an uptick, and that is the cybersecurity names. Let's talk about them, right? Let's talk about them. So, you know the names, and I'm just going to cover only a few. CRM hasn't seen the light of day ever since it lost its 50-day moving average in May, right? Stock has absolutely imploded, but finally on Friday reclaimed back the 10-day moving average. Why is that important? Well, that is the birth of the trade. If you ever traded the PS60 theory with me, plug, right? Or with any other forms of technical analysis, the 10-day moving average is kind of important. It's an intermediate level of area that shows you that the buyers have control not only of the short term, but the medium term sentiment. You can see it here. Reclaim back the 5-day, which is the short term, and the 10-day. Yeah, it's very, very curious to see big buyers coming in. If there is going to be a rotation in the market, especially in these tech names, well, watch these things. So this is your play. These are your type of stocks. The bottom balances this, in the form of playing catch up to the bull market. Keep an eye on them. A buyer came in, a notable buyer came in for the 800 grand, 800 grand for the December 300 calls. Well, why is that important? Well, the stock closed at 242. Again, it's a nice bet. All these stocks are reversing. You got Pan W, right? Pan W has gotten absolutely killed recently. You got CrowdStrike, right? CrowdStrike has been just bleeding. Snow has been just smashed, right? Has been melting, right? It's the sun. Sorry, it's not me. So these stocks are starting to kind of come back. Is it a trade that I like? Absolutely not. I believe in higher highs. I believe in lower lows. But it's something that you should be at least aware of. So if the bottom dwellers, or at least the bottom dwellers in this interval, are starting to wake up, well, again, it really does show you the strength of the market. Speaking of bottom dweller, right? You guys remember, and I'm not referring to Apple. Do you guys remember there was $100 billion investment from Apple to the White House, right? The pledging $100 billion. And in return, we found out like 2-3 days later, there was going to be an ease in tariffs when it comes to Apple, right? And the stock went nuts. The stock went literally from 202 all the way up to 235, right? Amazing. Here's the septic tank we're talking about. So you had news, right? You had news that the White House potentially, when I mean the White House, the Trump administration, could potentially take a stake in Intel, again, building their Ohio facility, right? That'd be great. Kind of revive the brand, kind of, get them a kick. Guess what? On that news, Intel was up 75 cents. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Matter of fact, here's a fun fact. When I started trading towards the end of 1998, 1999, which makes me 716 years old, Intel was exactly the same price it is now, right? Think about that. Not every single stock, not every single headline is going to be exactly the same. So let's see. Let's see if there is actually confirmation. Let's see if there is actually any validity to what potentially the government has installed or potential for Intel. Let's see how the futures react. Speaking of stock that has been dead in the water, literally and figuratively, is this too soon? I mean, let's be honest with me. Is this a little too soon? Right? Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, still making that money, baby. Almost as old as I am, right? Still making that money. Big move. United Healthcare obviously fueled some fire to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which touched and kissed the 2025 high. So you can see there's a lot of money being thrown around, a lot of investments being thrown around, a lot of stuff going around. And here is kind of where we kind of go back into my sweet spot. So let's talk about my sweet spot, my lovable bundles of joy. Let's start off with Tesla, right? So let's look at the chart on Tesla. So Tesla, if you've been watching the broadcast or you've been in the webinar, we caught this really, really good move on Tesla, right? Big move off the 50-day moving average. Stock went from basically 320 to 350. And the last 3 days has just been kind of consolidating this move, right? Consolidating this move. Here's what the bulls need to continue to do. The bulls need to continue to build above the 50-day moving average. As long as it continues to close anywhere north of 320, that is the 50-day, the cycle of life is good We closed below 320, not so much. So right now, obviously, we're going to give Tesla the benefit of the doubt. They are still coming in with really, really aggressive call buying coming in for next week. We saw some 350s, some 355s. We even saw some 360s. So we have to let it kind of relax. Again, it's like that marathon runner just finished its race. Obviously, they can't run another 26 miles. They need to take a glass of water, kind of get their legs underneath them so they could have their next marathon run. So we're going to give Tesla a little bit of breathing room. Let's see if it could wake up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I would like to see it wake up, and I'd like to see it reclaim back the 5-day, because if it can reclaim back the 5-day moving average, I do believe there will be a lightning in a bottle par deux. So we could get another second run on Tesla. Let's talk about Meta. Meta finally broke out this week, right? Meta finally broke out this week. If you've been watching this broadcast, it's been consolidating. Its earnings finally broke out. The only thing that's keeping it from really, really going crazy was a little bit of softness in the market for the last day or so. But you can see by the formation, it's putting in now a really nice tight base. Literally any build above this week's highs, we could see a stretch all the way to 812. But guess what? It has to do it. You can't anticipate it doing it. You cannot guess when it's going to do it. And just as a hint, right? Here's a hint, cheat code for Meta. The day it runs, you're going to get some massive aggressive call buying, weekly call buyers. That's exactly what happened. If you've been watching the webinar, we had that 775 pivot, traded all the way up to 795 because they were coming with aggressive 800 weekly calls. Let's see if next week they start coming in for 810, 820, 830 calls to see if they could jam this up as well. Let's talk about, let's see what else I want to talk about here today. Let's talk about Amazon, right? Amazon was on a great run. If you watched, I think it was Wednesday's video, Tuesday's video, it was setting up at the top of the range. It put in a very big run. Does it need a couple of days off? I think it does, right? I think it definitely needs a couple of days off just to kind of get its sea legs underneath it as well. Again, the last thing you want to do is for a stock to go up 3, 4, 5 days because you're chasing up 3, 4, 5 days. Again, remember, there's only one pivot and there's only one day of continuation. Everything else is the rare air up there. So it definitely needs a little bit of a break. Google that I caught this week was awesome. This is now the highest close in the whole formation, traded all the way up to 206 and change. Unfortunately, my last sale this week was a tad under 204, but from the 198 earnings highs breakout, I take it. One stock that's been absolutely getting massacred, was CRWV, right? They had this great run off the bottom. They lost the 50-day moving average and went literally from 135 all the way down to 94 in 4 sessions. So insiders were able to sell. The lockup period was kicked in, right? Commenced the insiders selling and yada. Here we are. Disgusting. Nearly, over 50% decline in 4 days. I want to give you guys some names to watch for this week that actually have tangible looking setups that potentially are imminent for confirmation. So let's talk about them, right? Let's talk about them. Let me give you guys some ideas. First one, let's talk about letter U. Right? Letter U, right? So you can see pretty basic chart, right? The best setups, folks, is the ones that everybody could understand. If you've been trading with me for the last 16 years, you kind of know that we have some sneaky pivots. The majority of you guys have no idea what they are, but they work pretty cool. But the most basic setup, the best setups are the ones that everybody could identify. This is pretty basic here. It's been rejected. Hell, I'm even going to give you the number, okay? It's been rejected off 39 3 times, right? Next time around, if this thing comes in with calls, it needs to confirm 39, this thing will explode, right? It's only X amount of times they can hold the dam before the dam completely explodes. 39 has been rejected 3 times. Keep an eye on this thing for this week. AAL Airlines have been really strong. AAL just needs to get above, and again, it's not a day trading stock, but it needs to get back above this supply, and if it does, it could start its next leg up. You can see beautiful flag pattern starting to form here. The longer it goes sideways, the higher probability it will jam through. COMM, really nice looking chart. I have no idea what this thing is, but beautiful chart here. This thing is imminent for a breakout, so keep an eye on this thing for this week as well. Look at Lyft. Lyft had a big move, man. Really, really big move on Friday. Keep an eye on this thing. This is now the first close above the 50-day moving average with expanding volume. Any weakness, any profit taken on Monday, do yourself a favor. If you are a trader of this stock, definitely keep an eye on this thing, because again, any close over the 50-day moving average with a potential inside day for the next day is good. That's exactly what you want. And let me give you guys one more. Chewy. I love Chewy. You love Chewy. My dog loves Chewy. We all love Chewy. You know what else is good about Chewy? Chewy closed above the 50-day moving average. Again, over the 50-day moving average, good. Below the 50-day moving average, bad. Let me give you an example with Chewy. So it got back above the 50-day moving average on April the 14th and decided to go from 35 all the way up to 48. It lost the 50-day moving average on July the 1st, okay? And it went from 42.70, right? 42.70 all the way down to 33. Guess what? It reclaimed the 50-day moving average as well. Take the notes from Lyft, applying them to Chewy. If they confirm Friday's channels next week, it should go higher. If it rests and retests back the 50-day moving average, you might want to take a stab at it. If this is something that you are interested in owning, in trading, whatever the case may be. Other than that, rotation continues to go in and out of technology. We kind of see that every day. The stocks that I trade are still tradable every single day. If you are stuck in your career, folks, again, guys, I'm not doing this for 13 months. I'm doing this for 26 years, been hosting the webinar for the last 16. These pivots are really, really cool. So if you are interested and you're kind of stuck in your career and you want to kind of get a different perspective on the market, all it takes, folks, is 30 days. Come to the webinar, see exactly how this thing plays out in life in real time, right in front of your eyes. There's no editing, there's no camera tricks. Nobody's saying action, right? It's right in front of your face. And the most important part is we're the only ones who trade in this fashion. So if you are interested, I would love to expose your world of the wonderful world of pivots. Have a great weekend, everybody. God bless. And I will see you all on Monday. Take care.